Page 47, the Rose of something, Tralee, or however you pronounce that, I don't know. But it has to do with a rose, close enough. At the top of the page, they give you some chord studies. They're just giving you ideas on patterns that these chords are played in. Remember, because chords have inversions. And you'll see these a lot in piano. You can go through those all you want to. They're used in this piece, so I'm going to talk about them in the piece. So I'm going to go through the process I use for learning a piece of music. I look it over to see basically what's in it and how long it is. I see it's 1 page long, more or less. Treble and bass clef. 1 sharp in the key signature. We're in the key of G major. Make sure you can do the G major scale, and you probably ought to be doing the E minor scale because it also has 1 sharp. I do the scales, I do them by key signature. So the 3/4 time signature, we have a pickup B, so we're coming in on beat 3. And the last measure I see only has 2 counts in it, so that's okay. I'm going to take it one hand at a time and make sure I understand what the hands are doing. I have a few fingering suggestions. I usually do. Starting with the right hand, rhythm-wise, it's not hard. They're all quarter notes, just here. And you're still here, except in the second full measure, your little finger's going to play a B. So really, we're kind of in this position. We're kind of moving around here. We'll figure it out. Just here. Just reach up. And 4. There, those 2 G's in the middle. 3, 4. We need to change hand positions to here, and we're going to use repeated notes to do it. This happens a lot in piano. So we simply take advantage of the repeated notes to prepare us for what's coming. So we get it into this position, reach down. I mean, you could have done this, stayed there and reached down, but it's a bigger reach. Yeah, don't recommend it. If you can't, just do this 4. And then again, the second line is with thumb again. Well, we have 3 D's. You got 2 D's at the end of the first line, and then 1 at the beginning of the second line. So we're just going to change hand positions back to what we were at the beginning, and you can do it on any of the D's. They're showing it on the last one here. Okay, let's go down to the last line. You're here. They say a 4 here, crossover. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just the fingering style that I use and teach says that I don't cross over the thumb if I don't have to. Now maybe you need to practice this, maybe you need that. That's fine, you got to be able to do that. However, we don't need to cross over the thumb, really. We just change it, we just spread out a little bit. So at the here, just stay there. Then 4, then bring the 3 down here. You should be able to do 1 note in between any 2 fingers. Even these. So you need to be able to do that. Even with little hands, you need to be able to get where you can stretch out enough to do that. So again, at the 4, then 3, then 2, 1. See, I just covered all of those notes in 1 hand position. I did not cross over the thumb. And you don't have to hold this hand position. You're actually moving the hand down as you're doing it here. That's what I recommend. However, do it the way your teacher tells you to. Left hand, this is where the chords are. The half notes. Let's just look at the half notes. That's the same as the notes up above. You're here, and then down here. And of course, you got to look at the keyboard to see because you're moving around. Second line, here, don't forget the F sharps in the key signature. And then here. Second line, 3rd measure. Well, if you're not sure what it is, spell out the chord. So it's an E, an A, and a C sharp. If you don't want to be up in here, then you can do that. I'll leave that up to you and the size of your hands, or whatever. If you can, the fingering in the book is fine. And then the next measure here, they give you a C natural as natural sign in that measure. That's not necessary. It's a C natural anyway. They're just being clear. I point that out because you may think that, well, if you're in some other piece of music and this sort of thing happens and they don't give you a natural sign, you might think, oh, maybe it's still sharp. or maybe they made a mistake or something. So probably didn't. It's a natural. They're just sometimes the publisher will give you a natural sign and sometimes they don't. So then I put the hands together and let's see what happens. You're here, you're moving this hand down, the left hand, because you got these quarter notes to deal with. That's all right. Here, here. These note fingers right here. It's an F sharp there. Hold these half notes down. Anyway, you go through and you put the hands together and then go back over it a few, however many times, carefully and slowly, and gradually get rid of the hesitation so it's a steady beat. One, any speed you want, doesn't matter. You keep it nice and slow. Nice and slow, that's slow for me. You might go slower than that, I don't know. No hesitations. And you'll learn when to look at the music and when to look down. You're looking at both. You'll develop a rhythm of what you're doing there. Just make sure it's a small motion. Don't keep moving your head a lot when you're doing this. Your eyes might move somewhat, but your head's only going to move a little bit, if at all. Now think about the articulation. Here it's very connected. You can put in the phrasing. See, the last measure, the first line, it's a new phrase. It's like taking a breath. Last measure, the second line here, and then lift up. It's a new phrase. That's basically the phrasing. And the left hand, you just play it. And then for the dynamics, they don't give you any. Isn't this lovely? Well, in that case, it's up to you. You consider the mood of the piece, overall speed and mood and articulation and all that stuff, and come up with a dynamic that appears to fit. To me, this is sort of in the middle or on the soft side of the middle. It's a gentle piece. Just remember, we want to hear the melody. This left hand needs to be in the background all the way through. So be careful on that. Make sure you're listening for this. Don't play the melody louder so you can, no. Play the melody where you want it. And just make an effort to keep this left hand light. Speed-wise, in the middle. Some are moderatos, just there's no set speed here. You have to decide sort of not fast or slow, just gentle. It's just nice and flowing. If you're going to sing it, how fast would you sing it? As far as the interpretation goes, remember the natural accents. 1, 2, 3, 1. At the beginning on these Ds, it should sound like to here. Otherwise, they're going to think the first note you play is the first beat of the measure. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. And that some people have done that. I've heard pros not get the natural accents, and I'm thinking, where's the beat? It should be clear. 1. Feel this. I exaggerate it so you can hear it better because it's really important that you just feel it. Now at the bottom, the last two measures. The fermatas, you just hold those out as long as it feels right. If I do it with a metronome, I double the values. So I'm going to hold the quarter notes 2 counts instead of 1. Because it's the smaller note value that controls however long you're going to hold it. The other hand just holds on until it's time. So the last 2 measure, here, just hold that and then go on. And then hold that for a bit and then go on. Now if I did pedal, we sort of need pedal here because it's pretty choppy the way it is now with this left hand moving like it is. It's basically overlapping pedal. Kind of like to hear the phrasing. Well, let's see what happens. At the beginning, Normally I don't pedal the pickup beat, but because they're repeated, we have 2 Ds, I want to connect them. So I have to pedal them to connect them. So I'm going to push the note down first and then the pedal. And I'm going to, in this one, I'm going to lift up on the 3rd beat, each one, because it gets too blurry. If I overlap pedal this, this is what it sounds like. If you're not listening too carefully, that's not too bad. But if you're actually listening to it, that's yuck. So I'm going to lift up on the 3rd beat just to clear out the sound before I go to the next measure. And that clears out that sound a little bit. It's a personal thing. You have to decide on the sound you're after and you adjust the pedal. This helps me put in the phrasing, like the end of the first line you hear. I can hear some silence there for the new phrase because I lift the pedal up. But I have to pedal that beat because again it's a repeated note. So in the second line, here, but go ahead and pedal the note because it's repeated, but lift up. Like so. At the bottom, the last line, the same thing. Lift up on the 3rd beat. Lift up. Keep the left hand down. It's a half note. Then come up. Everything coming together. That's my suggestion on the pedal. Don't copy me. You get into the music, you feel it, you experiment with it, with the dynamics and the speed and the pedaling, your interpretation of it, and see what you do. Let's play it together very slowly just to check the notes and the rhythms. I'll give us 2 counts because we come in on beat 3. I'm going to pedal it like I suggested. We'll see. Just one hand at a time if you need to is fine too. Ready, go.